All right, so let's get this show on the road. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. All right, so again, welcome everybody and congratulations on being selected as a participant for the 2021 challenge match. This is our participant meeting. And again, the aim of the meeting is just to be as clear and communicative as everybody can be, or as we can be on the foundation side. We want to make sure that everything is understood by all of our participating organizations. We have some new organizations. We have some new folks at maybe organizations that have participated in the past. But again, knowledge is power, and so is transparency. So let's dig on in. So let's review quickly the timeline moving forward here. Whoops. Getting ahead of myself already. So the timeline moving forward is, as many of you are probably aware, that the match period will be from November 1st through November 9th. Again, that's this year. So that will be the actual challenge match period. So believe it or not, it's about what, 6 or so weeks away. So it'll be here before we know it. So we're going to talk about that here in a moment. But November 23rd, 2021, that is when we were asking for all of the organization's tracking sheets and certification letters. So we're going to look at a sample of a certification letter because that is something that is new for this year, but I'll kind of delve more into that once that comes up. Then December 6th, that's the deadline to mail all thank you letters. So just as a quick point here, something that is new this year is that we are not requiring you to send the foundation your thank you letters. So you can just send those out. We are just asking for a bit of a confirmation email, like, hey, they were sent out. So we do ask that just confirmation email, we send all our thank you letters out and all that, be by December 6th. So we'll talk about, Elisa has some samples of different kinds of thank you letters. And we'll also talk kind of about a little bit here about bulk mailing, even though that'll probably have more to do with before the match period begins. And then on December 21st, after our December board meeting for the foundation, that is when all distributions will be made. Okay, so does anyone have any questions just merely about the timeline and how all of this kind of works together chronologically? All right, make sure we. Oh, thank you, Lisa. All right, so let's talk about the actual match period. So this year, we have 40 organizations who are participating, and I think we have about 30 of them here today, which is fantastic. We have 275,000 match dollars that are available, which is the most, I believe, that we have had during the throughout the course of this program. So it's really, really exciting. Now, something that is new for this year is the bonus bucks. We are actually not doing bonus bucks anymore. So if you don't know what they are, no worries, but they're not going to be around anymore. But essentially, the bonus bucks were allocated. If some organizations didn't hit their match goal, then those bucks could be, they were called bonus bucks. They could be kind of pushed over to organizations that did meet their goal, but we are not going to be doing those anymore. Okay, so I'm going to flip over here, online donations to best practices. So I am going to, don't mind me, I'm going to, there we go. And I'm going to back. Okay, so, and Lisa, feel free to jump in whenever you feel appropriate, but we did want to talk about online donations and kind of best practices. So we know that a lot of organizations, you have your own donor portal on your website, perhaps, so you have your own mechanism set up, however that may be. So we do encourage you, if you have, your own donor portal on your website or whatever it may be, to, make sure you're pushing that out and promoting that. And the reason is because, when it comes down to it, we use what's called Network for Good. So some of you, assuredly, most of you may be aware of that, or maybe some of you may be aware of that. But so whenever someone comes to the Wayne County Foundation website, we do have our Donate Now button on the front. So if someone were to click that, say, Now we'll have this all updated to reflect the challenge match, particularly down here in the gift direction. So in the past, we've had Wayne County Foundation challenge match. So then you could select the challenge match and then whatever organizations that you'd like to give to. But just as a quick reminder, or if it's not a reminder, at least kind of a quick announcement, we will not have those funds in hand until the monthly Network for Good payout is made. And Lisa, I'm sorry, when is that traditionally? So if the gifts are made between the 1st and the 9th of November.
We won't be receiving a check from Network for Good until generally the middle of December. And we will need to process that against all of the online donations we received. What we're double checking that none of the donors changed their mind on a donation, which would affect our final payout to all of the organizations. So I know I had said that we would get the distributions out to everyone by the 21st of December, but we will need up till the end of the year to get those checks out.
And just so again, that's just for knowledge sake. And again, if you have your own donor portal, and if you don't, no worries. But I know some organizations do. So it would be perfectly fine, of course, because you're going to be tracking all of the donations regardless. So if you have your own portal, you feel free to use that. Lisa, am I missing anything else about the online donor portal?
Just that donations made through Network for Good through this portal, they will receive an email. Well, first, they'll receive a screen pop-up confirmation of their donation, and they will also receive an email from Network for Good, and that will be their receipt for tax purposes. You will then send them a thank you without tax language, just a general thank you for your donation, online donation. And Teresa will be sending out a notification, which we asked everyone on your grant agreement at the bottom of the second page to list the email addresses for contact information of who should be receiving those notifications.
I forgot to mention this at the top of the presentation. We do have kind of a master email that kind of has all of the information, most of the information that we'll be talking about today. So we'll send that out here. We're working on updating some of the items. So that'll come out here very soon. So this should kind of hopefully answer also a lot of the questions that you may have about Challenge Match. And there's a lot of documentation and all that. So we'll send that out along with this recorded video for reference all throughout this process. Okay, so yes, bulk mailing. I know this is a really exciting topic, bulk mailing. However, I think we wanted to just remind everybody that, of course, as 501c3s, nonprofit organizations, you do qualify for a bulk mailing rate if you exceed however many particular pieces of mail. But we also wanted to remind everyone that it can take just a little bit longer as a result for those to reach folks' mailboxes. So if you are going to do a bulk mailing, be sure to try to get it to the post office a little bit earlier than you otherwise would, because it does take them a little bit longer to process the bulk mailing. So I know a lot of folks do direct mailings to their donor base for Challenge Match or for their annual campaign or whatever it may be. This is just kind of a general reminder about bulk mailing that you probably should utilize a little bit of extra time just to make sure that it gets to your donors in time. So, Lisa, was there anything? Yes, please.
Point of clarification for those that might not be familiar with the bulk mail, you do have to apply for a permit to use that service, and there is an annual fee that you have to pay. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. And Teresa had told me that when we sent our annual report out earlier this year, It took 2.5 weeks before everyone received those in the mail, even locally.
Yeah, it took a while. That's right. We are a real life example of how long a bulk mail can take sometimes. So appreciate the point of clarification, Lisa. But yes, so just err on the side of caution as far as working with your calendar, just to make sure that whatever you're sending out, if you're sending out bulk, it gets there in time. And then, so speaking of promotion, I know actually quite a few organizations took advantage of this last year, and I believe in years past, but Brewer Broadcasting is doing their traditional offer, and we'll send this out as well. But I told Amy at the radio station that when I had a captive audience, I would share this with you. So Brewer Broadcasting is Kicks, Legend, and The Point. But I'll share this sheet here quickly. So this is what they did last year. So as you can see, there are quite a few organizations who took them up on. There's Brian. And so a lot of organizations. So it's really just opportunities to promote your organization throughout the challenge match period with radio spots or small short videos, which Beth. And so this is kind of what it looks like on the Points website. However, here we go. I'll make sure that this gets sent out to you, all of you, that if you want to take them up on this offer, you can. So they have, again, these videos, video marketing opportunities, as well as if you'd like to purchase some radio spots as well. So just, and food for thought, and we will make sure that reaches your inbox. Okay, so any questions here about general questions about the actual match period, how it works, or anything that we've discussed on this corresponding slide here? I'm doing a terrible job at watching the chat, so I apologize if someone puts something in the chat.
I do have a question.
Yeah, hi, John.
Hi there. Just to clarify, when it says that all gifts must be received during the match period, how does that in regard to, for instance, if like we receive a check on December 10th or on November 10th that's postmarked prior to, or if the check in the envelope is dated in the challenge match, does that still count?
So at the end of the period, you are looking at the postmark date on the envelope.
Okay.
That it is postmarked by the 9th. We know sometimes your donors will get excited and they may have the check dated during the match. They may send it a little early. It's supposed to be based on postmark at that point as well, but we have previously allowed donations received, a few days prior to be counted.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the question, John, and for the answer, Lisa. Any other questions about the match period? All right, let's keep marching then. So moving on to the next major date. So, the dust has settled. Everyone's had an incredibly wildly successful challenge match. And then so about 2 weeks, pardon me, after the match period is over, the foundation asks that you submit your tracking sheet and certification letter. So tracking sheet, I know Lisa is the template part of the master Bible email that we're going to send out?
Yes, it is. And I actually have it up if we want to take a look at it real quick.
Please, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, can everybody see the spreadsheet?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
This is actually last year's. I need to update the date information. But I do want you to keep this in Excel format because there are some formulas in there, and I want to make sure if you have to add lines for your donations that the formula carries down to the very end. But I just need you to put your organization name in. Date of gift is the date that you received the gift. Rather, or at the end, you know, based on postmark. You're going to put in the donor's name and the gift amount. Now, as you've probably seen, the qualified gifts are only up to $1,000 per donor. So this is going to calculate, say they sent you $2,000. It's automatically has a formula that only 1,000 is going to qualify towards your threshold and match that you're trying to achieve. Then you will have at the very bottom your totals. And we also ask if your organization received gifts in the match period that did not qualify for the match and what the value is. You don't have to do that, but a lot of people, if you have matching sponsors, have been putting those in, or you know, any payments like grants or anything that would not qualify, you can put that in there, but it's not a requirement. And you can also see our frequently asked questions regarding those different items to see, or feel free to reach out to us. It's a pretty simple format. If you do need to add more lines, just for those not familiar with Excel, you can just highlight some lines, right click, click insert, and it's going to add those lines. But you will need to carry down the formula. If you get the small cross in the corner, it will pull down. Another way you can do it is to copy those highlighted lines. Right click, insert copied cells, and then that will keep you from having to bring the formula down. But if you have any questions or get it messed up, please feel free to reach out, but definitely save your email with that template in it. Okay, Alex.
Thank you, Lisa. That was very, very helpful. All right, so I will take back, oh, there it goes. Take back the screen, and I'm going to reshare. So the next part of that, again, the second piece there was a certification letter. I'm going to show you something that I mocked up. It's very basic, but really this doesn't have to be anything special. If memory serves, this is the first year that we have asked for a certification letter. This isn't like a gotcha. It's not a gotcha, so to speak. It's really just to make sure that the executive director or the CEO or whomever is representing the organization, and that the board chair, whoever your board chair is, are kind of in agreement that, you know, this is the these are the results of our challenge match, and that they are true. Like, it's not meant to be a gotcha, just really just it's just like kind of that final sign off as we receive your tracking sheet. This one is incredibly basic. I will be the first to tell you, so I'm going to share it here. Let's see here. Okay, I'll just read it aloud too, because it is, like I said, very short. So it can look anything like this. You know, you can put your logo or your letterhead, and again, this is just some sample verbiage. If you want to take it, by all means, steal away. But so again, you want to include, you know, your name, your organization, all that. And I'll just read it aloud here quickly. To whom it may concern, on behalf of your organization, staff, and board of directors, it is our pleasure to submit our results for the 2021 Wayne County Foundation Challenge Match between November 1st and 9th. Our organization successfully raised however much from a however many total number of donors. To the best of our knowledge, the data on the corresponding tracking sheet is a true and accurate reflection of our organization's fundraising performance during the specified challenge match period. Then sincerely, again, whoever if it's executive director, CEO, or whatever the title may be, whoever it is, it's appropriate to sign on behalf of the organization, and then whoever your sitting board chair, board president is. We'll make sure that this is also included in the master email. And again, just to reiterate, we just really want to kind of have that final sign off that the tracking sheet has kind of been looked over and kind of inspected by the pertinent members of the organization. So fairly straightforward, but like I said, we will attach this to the email. That way everyone has this in their inbox as well. Any questions over that tracking sheet or certification letter? Okie dokie, fantastic. So again, that is 2 weeks after the match period has concluded that we are asking for those 2 items. All right, so then December 6th, 2021, that is the deadline to mail all the thank you letters. Again, as an item for review, we have a new policy that we do not require to, we don't like, not, we love thank you letters, but we trust that they are going to be sent properly and sent timely. So our new policy is we do not need to collect thank you letters from the organizations. So then at this point, I'll turn it over to Lisa because there are different kinds of thank you letters. And I will let her now show the samples of the different kinds of thank you letters depending on the gift.
Okay. So previously I had sent you some language that should be included in your thank you letters, and I was asked to provide some samples for those specific qualified charitable distributions. So I've done a lot of Googling. And
Such a good skill to have, though, I'll say.
okay, so this is a sample IRA rollover gift receipt letter for gifts received directly from an IRA administrator. So that's going to be like from Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, things of that nature. They generally will include information to let you know it's an IRA distribution and information about the donor so that you can then thank them. You absolutely do not have to use this specific letter. This is just an example, and I'm sure you'll want to personalize it for your organization. But you do want to, as always in thank you letters, include the date, name, address, city, state, zip, dear, first name is preferable. Thank you for your gift with the amount from your IRA. And then there's some specific language that you need to include, and that we warrant about the Internal Revenue Code, and it's not transferred for a donor advised fund or supporting organization. And so you're going to retain this letter with information for your tax preparer. And then just have your, signature there at the end. So it is some more specific language than the regular quid pro quo language for the IRS that no goods or services were provided. The other letter that I had put together was donor advised funds. We have several donor advised funds here at the foundation, and our donors elect to make distributions to the nonprofits participating in the challenge match. They can also have donor advised funds at Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab, or different advisors. And because they have already received a tax letter when they made the donation to the donor advised fund at that organization, what you're sending them is just a thank you for the distribution. You're not going to include any tax information in that specific letter. And then I put together a sample online donation through the foundation thank you letter. And I included a little PS at the bottom that they should have received a receipt for their gift by email from Network for Good, and if not, information so that they can reach out directly to them. You could probably customize this if you have an online provider that also provides the tax letter like Network for Good does. And then the last one, I haven't created a sample, but it's for any gifts that would come through the foundation. So we have donors that will walk in a check written to the foundation that they want split to multiple organizations. We will provide the tax receipt to them. You're just going to provide a letter that says, hey, thank you for your donation during the challenge match. No tax language required on that. And I think that covers, unless I'm not remembering a situation, all of our thank you letter opportunities. And we will include these samples with the email as well.
Question that Jennifer put in the chat box, and yeah, everything that you see will be included, and use what you'd like or repurpose it however is most appropriate for you and your organization. All right, so I'll get back on the PowerPoint here. Pardon me. All right, so we just have a little bit left here to review, and then we'll just again open the floor up. I'm sorry.
Add a further clarification.
Oh, sure.
So the deadline to mail all thank you letters, that means we want all of your thank you letters mailed in the mail, postmarked by December 6th. And then you need to send me an email letting me know the date of the final mailing of all of your thank you letters. I mean, you're probably, some of you may send them in a batch, some of you may not. So when you send out those last ones, just let me know that it's all completed and make sure it's done by December 6th.
Yes, thank you, Lisa. And then again, we kind of are, well, I guess we already kind of discussed this one. We talked about the foundation for receiving donations, at least from our end, from Network for Good. So again, if we receive donations through that portal, through our portal, you can expect distribution to be made actually a little bit later, as Lisa pointed out, than December 21st.
We could talk about the end of year distribution to the nonprofits. Will include the match goal funds that you achieved from the foundation, as well as those online donations from Network for Good, and any donations that were made directly to the foundation to be passed on to you. Those will be all included in one check, and we will provide a letter that will have a breakdown of those amounts.
Great, thank you, Lisa. That was a good bit of nuance to bring up. Yes, the match funds themselves. All right, so is there any questions or discussion points? And I tell you what I'll do, I will come back here to the timeline here because I feel like this might be most helpful. Kind of stare at this for a moment, but are there any overall overarching questions about anything that's been discussed, or I guess perhaps even more importantly, something that wasn't discussed, that's sort of something that you have questions about that we haven't touched on?
Alex, this is Jennifer at the Boys and Girls Club.
Of course, hi,
And
Jennifer.
this question is for Lisa as well. I know last year, pretty much on a daily basis, after you received donations through your giving portal, you would send us an email so that we could add those to the list. I know we're going to get those payments when you do your December 21st distributions, but will you still send us a daily email that says who we got donations from?
With our new system, we are actually working with the company to hopefully have that as an automated email. So
Okay.
Teresa won't have as much work daily to let everyone know any online donations that were received. Does that answer?
Yes, so we should get emails from something, either from the foundation or from the new portal.
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
And that should include notification of any donations made through the foundation as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks for the question, Jennifer. What an awesome crowd. Got 35 people in the Zoom room. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions about anything? And of course, just because this meeting's over doesn't mean the questions and the question answers will end. Feel free to reach out to Lisa or myself. We're happy to help however we can and come alongside any of your organizations the best we can.
I did think of something else.
Oh, fire away, Lisa.
So, and I need to double check that this is still accurate, but previously donations received through Facebook's fundraising platform, they had the option to share their email address, but their mailing address is not shared. And we feel that that's kind of the main point of being able to steward your donors and contact them to make sure, you know, that they are still familiar with your organization and providing them information. So I'm going to say, unless I find out otherwise, that will still be true for this year as well. And I know that you're probably going to receive some donations through PayPal, maybe from current donors, hopefully that you already have their information, but they do have the option to share their mailing address with you. I know sometimes you've just had to email the person back, but if there's any way at all that you can obtain their mailing address, that would be great. But again, since we're not requiring copies of those thank you letters, it's going to be on you guys. I was just kind of looking through that email to see if there was anything else. We'll also include the frequently asked questions document. I think that's on the website already.
Lisa, I'm sorry, I'll cut in here quickly. Ray asked a question in the chat box, which I think is a good one. Could you review which gifts received during the match period that do not qualify for the match? I think you're probably best suited to answer this one of the two of us.
Okay, I had actually pulled up our parameters document. Of course, limited to 1,000 per donor per organization received during the match period. Distributions from donor advised funds do qualify. Grant funds received during the match period do not qualify, and payments for goods and services do not qualify. So if you have emailed someone for a payment or service and they send that payment in during challenge match, you can include it in that bottom line on the tracking sheet, but we would prefer not to see that as a donation because it's technically not. The same for grant funds. That's something new this year. Sometimes the funders have learned about the challenge match and in hopes that it would be a matching opportunity, but we are disqualifying those this year. You can include those in that bottom number again, but we don't want them in the top number.
So if it's from a foundation, but it's in the form of a grant, it does not qualify.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you for the question.
And to sort of further Jennifer's question, it sounds like there's a distinction between a donor advised fund and a private foundation or a government grant, and that government grants and private foundation disbursements would not be included.
That is correct.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for applying your expertise, Lisa. Lisa. That was great. Thank you. Well, I tell you what, since it seems like questions have slowed, if you have no further questions, feel free to move on to whatever you have next. I know probably some people have 1 o'clock meetings to prepare for, but please know, again, our sincere congratulations on being selected for this year's challenge match. We're really looking forward to generating a lot of buzz about it on the foundation side. And at any point in the next 6 weeks, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to Lisa or myself. We are here to help however it is that we can, but just know we're really excited about it. We hope you all are too. It's going to be I think it's going to be a really good challenge match season. So if you got to scamper off, we understand. If you want to ask a question, if you want to hang out and ask a question or make small talk, you can do that too. But thank you, everybody. We do appreciate your time today.
So I'm just going to ask a quick one. I put it in the chat, but
Yes,
back
Karen.
on that foundation question. Would it though be possible for a small foundation to make a donation to the grant, but it's not, or to the challenge match, but it isn't a grant, it's just a donation?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that what you weren't just saying it's a foundation and no, because some very small foundations just give the money.
Right.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Mhm.
Karen. Sorry, I guess as I'm scrolling up, I
Okay.
think it got the thank you started.
It did. It started right there. I thought they're never going to see that. I'll just have to
Next thing
speak
you
up.
know. Oh, great.
I do
No,
have a voice. I can use it.
oh, no, it's all good, Karen. No worries. Glad we got it answered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Lisa.
Of course, no problem. Thanks, Shelley.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming in.
No problem.
Ooh, they're all dropping out.
I know. We got to figure out if we put anyone to sleep really quick here. Lisa, do we?
Thank you.
No, I'm
Hi,
still
Jim.
awake. Thanks, you guys, very much.
Of course. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. Both of you be safe and take good care.
Yeah, you
Thanks,
do
you
the same
too.
thing.
All right, thanks again.
Of course. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording now. So let me at least do that.